Here in New York, the property market has been booming. Building permits are on the rise, the median price of an apartment is at a record high, and there's just been a ton of building of apartments and condos all around New York. Gary Silverman is here with us, and he wrote a piece about something that's going on behind the scenes in the construction boom in New York City. Gary.
Work is getting more dangerous in New York. The number of injuries suffered by workers on construction sites in New York rose by 50% last year and double from the levels of the last boom. We're having almost one person a day injured in a construction accident here in New York City. Right. According to the city, 9 people died in construction accidents last year. According to the federal government statistics, that might have been as many as 18. There's all kinds of ways of counting construction deaths, and different authorities supervise different types of buildings and construction sites. So
that's one thing that struck me also in your piece, is that you were saying it's hard to even nail down how many people are being injured, how many people are dying, because there's all these different kinds of local authorities on the matter.
Well, to some extent, the city, the number on injuries that I'm using is from the city, which involves where the city issues a building permit. Right. There could be other kinds of construction work, and there can be all kinds of people could be fixing their roof and fall off their roof, and or somebody could have a job that isn't known by the authorities. So there's a lot of gradations, and then some of the leading cause of death in construction accidents in the United States are falls. So, and in New York that's a bigger problem too, because we tend to build very high here. Although interestingly enough, the accidents are mostly on buildings 10 stories and below in New York.
Really?
Not the ones 10 and above are kind of pretty high tech and tend to be more union. So 10 stories and above, or above 10 stories, they're about 50-50 union, non-union workers. 10 stories and below, it's 80% non-union, 20% union.
So what's behind this? Is it just that people are picking up the pace of building? They're trying to, quickly build up condo buildings as fast as they can, or is it something else?
Some of it is pace.
Okay.
Some of it is just the sheer number of buildings going up. Permits for new buildings went up last year, 18%. That's for new buildings. For other jobs, a little slower. Some of it, though, is more non-union construction, which seems less safe. And some of it is more private sector versus public. Okay.
So what would be the difference between union construction and non-union construction, if you can just give us some background on that?
Well, just to go back a bit, New York is a union town. Traditionally, almost all construction was union. There was a comment on my story today. Somebody said, I remember the days when to screw in a light bulb in New York, you had to call the union. It used to be everything was union, and probably excessively union. I mean, that's one of the things that's changed. There's a lot more cost containment. A lot of the projects are being done, probably more economically efficiently, but that means fewer people, and it also means fewer people go through union apprenticeship programs and training programs. Crews are put together probably a little more haphazardly than they used to be. I mean, one of the things someone told me, there's a priest in New York, Father Brian Jordan, who's the chaplain to the building trades and does a yearly mass, a hard hat mass, for people who are killed in construction accidents. And he said, for instance, one of the problems he's found in dealing with the families is that the workers don't speak the same language. So you could have a Chinese contractor with a crew of French-speaking African workers, where in a moment of duress, maybe they have trouble communicating. There's also just fewer people on a job. One of the contractors I spoke to, representative of an organization of contractors, said on a union job, the union construction, rather a union cement crew would have 90 people. A non-union cement crew would have 60, just to be more efficient. Now, what's the proper number might be somewhere in between there, but to some extent this might have some effect on safety.
So what is the city planning to do about it?
Well, the city claims that it's cracking down and has shut down hundreds of sites during the year that they say we're not obeying construction codes. They also say they're going to be tougher going forward on this. The city's building commissioner said that many of the accidents were avoidable. However, to some extent, this is a way cost of goods sold. The way business is being done now is it appears to be a little more dangerous for the people involved in it, which, if you think about it, a lot of industries are getting safer. You would think in a high-tech era things would get safer. So it is noteworthy that we've seen an increase in accidents.
Well, Gary, it's been a pleasure talking construction with you.
Oh, thank you very much. I think
Thanks so much.
We built something for the future here, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.